It's not that hard to get protein on a ketogenic diet, but it is a little bit more difficult to try to get the right amount of protein if you're following some kind of vegetarian or vegan protocol, or if you just want to do keto with eating a little bit less in the way of animal protein. But there are some solid solutions. And the cool thing is, Sunwarrior has come out with a clean keto protein blend. And what I want to do is I want to lay out the ingredients and let you know what is in this product that can help you out with your ketogenic lifestyle, whether you are a vegetarian or vegan, or you're just trying to reduce the carbon footprint on your body a little bit. The first ingredient that I want to touch on is going to be MCT powder. Okay, so it's going to have MCTs in there by way of coconut. Now, you know by now that MCTs are popular in a ketogenic diet, so I don't need to spend a whole lot of time talking about this. But the neat thing is, when you're talking about getting the right kind of fats in, MCTs are going to sort of be the baseline fundamental fat that you want in there. Why? Because they have a unique ability to cross through what is called the double membrane of the mitochondria. In short, what this means is that MCTs can cross into the cell and into the energy powerhouse of the cell that much easier, therefore creating energy that much easier. Whereas you compare that to like a long chain fat, let's just say, for example, like olive oil, which is, by the way, is a good fat, it takes longer for that to break down and it takes longer for that to get into a cell. MCTs get into the cell and create energy really quickly. Now, additionally, when you're doing a ketogenic diet, you might find that you have trouble sleeping. That's a common thing, and it's a common issue simply because tryptophan isn't getting into your brain as effectively because your insulin levels are low. Well, studies have shown that MCT oil contains a specific fatty acid known as octanoic acid. Octanoic acid increases the amount of tryptophan that goes into the brain, which could somewhat help you get to sleep a little bit better. So although it's just a little bit, every little bit helps you out in this case because you need your sleep. The next thing that we have is fava protein. Now, when we start looking at the protein blends, we have to make sure that we're getting the right blend of amino acids. So fava protein, in addition to being a nice complete protein, has something in it known as L-DOPA. In fact, it's one of the only foods on the planet that contains L-DOPA, which is the natural precursor to dopamine. And if you haven't heard of dopamine before, well, you're gonna wanna know about it. Dopamine is what allows you to feel good. It is the reward system within your brain, okay? Now, the cool thing is L-DOPA that's in fava beans can cross through the blood-brain barrier and be the constant precursor to dopamine, meaning you will get that reward system feeling. What that means to you, you might not feel as hungry, okay? You might feel more satiated, but of course you're also getting the complete protein blend. Then when we move on to the other proteins that are in the mix, we have good old-fashioned pea protein. Now, a lot of people think that pea protein isn't a super good protein because it doesn't have methionine in it, okay? Now, typically you need all 9 essential amino acids in order for it to be a complete protein. The thing is, yes, pea protein does lack a specific amino acid known as methionine. The thing is, methionine is very, very available. Almost every single food that you're eating is going to have some amount of methionine. So you don't necessarily need it in order to have a complete protein. Okay, we're still getting everything that we need from the pea protein. But the cool thing about pea protein, in addition to being this complete protein, is that it contains what are called polyphenolic compounds. Okay, these polyphenolic compounds can help support our gut bacteria. They sort of act as a prebiotic fiber. So if you're doing the ketogenic diet, there's a good chance that you're not getting enough fiber. There's also a good chance that you are having a radical shift in your gut biome, which means that your whole digestive system could just kind of pivot a little bit. So pea protein could indirectly help support your gut bacteria by providing the prebiotic fibers that you need. So it's a win-win on the protein board and on the fiber board. Then we move further down the line to see exactly how much science has gone into all the proteins that are in this compound. We have brown rice protein peptides. What the heck does that mean? Okay, when you break down proteins, you're breaking them down into amino acids and breaking them down into peptides. You're breaking them down into smaller pieces for the body to utilize. You can't just take one giant chunk of protein and just naturally assimilate it into muscle. No, the body has to break it down into aminos and into peptides. So when you take brown rice protein peptides, you have the already broken down version of the protein. So even though it's technically not a complete protein because it's not an animal protein or it doesn't have all 9 essential amino acids in that particular case, you are at least giving yourself a very digestible blend. So some of the protein peptides can get broken down by the brown rice, and then we have the pea protein, then we have the fava. We are covering all our bases, not only on the protein side of things, but also on the fat side of things. Now let's break down the omega profile, because this is what I think is the most important thing for anybody on a ketogenic diet, not just people that are doing a vegan keto or vegetarian keto diet. Okay, omega-3s, we have 740 milligrams of omega-3s. Then we have 241 milligrams of omega-6s. Now you might be thinking, well, why is that number so low? Well, we want it low. Okay, we want omega-3s to be high. We want omega-6s to be low. Most people that do a ketogenic diet, especially people that do a vegan ketogenic diet, end up with way too much in the way of these omega-6s, which triggers an inflammatory response within the body. So we want a high amount of omega-3s to counteract the omega-6s. But when we look at omega-9s, 2,400 milligrams of omega-9. Now, omega-9 is kind of the mysterious cousin, all right? It's just, we know it's good because it's an omega, but nobody really talks about what it does. Well, I'll tell you, omega-9 is the future of fats. I will put money on that. Okay, omega-9s have some amazing conversion processes within the body. You see, in the upper intestinal tract, they convert into what is called oleoyl ethanolamine, OEA. Now, that sounds like a mouthful, but the thing is, OEA helps you out in a lot of different ways. Okay, it helps satiate you because it triggers a response of the vagus nerve to help your brain feel a little bit calmer so you don't need more food. But additionally, it triggers the production and the activation of uncoupling proteins. So basically what that means is it helps your body create more heat. We want our bodies to create heat because then we are burning calories via heat. Now, again, it's also a very healthy fat that takes the place of omega-6s. So once again, we have high omega-3, high omega-9, and low omega-6s, which is exactly what we want in a fatty acid profile. So if you're doing keto and you're trying to reduce just the overall, I don't know, greenhouse effect on your body and you want to have a little bit more in the way of plant proteins, Sunwarrior Clean Keto is absolutely the way to go. It's going to get your protein, it's going to get your fats, but best of all, it tastes amazing. So make sure you check them out. And as always, keep it locked in here with Sunwarrior. See you soon.